Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, depending upon what part of our wonderful nation you are in. My name is Debbie Frapp, and I am going to be your facilitator today. I have the pleasure of working with MAPS as a group coach and a one-on-one coach, and I want to thank Chris for being on the line with MAPS as well, and thank you to all the MAPS staff for everything you do to make this possible. So due to the number of people we have on this webinar today and the fact that you are taking the time out of your busy schedule, my guess is that you have a need. Most likely it's a need to be able to communicate more effectively. In fact, you may have areas, we all do by the way, where your communication is failing. It could be that you are being misunderstood and maybe you're having difficulty communicating those tough conversations, or you could possibly be just avoiding them altogether. So I want to welcome you to today, and I'm going to kind of set the agenda for you of what we're going to cover. I also want to let you know that there's an opportunity during this segment to, if you have a question, you have a sidebar on your, as you signed into the webinar for questions. I'll be watching for those. And or if you want to raise your hand to ask a question, and I can go in and unmute you, depending upon whether you want to just type in your question or you would like to actually say something. So I really encourage your participation in that. After all, this is about fierce conversations, so I want to encourage conversations. And I'll also give you an opportunity at the end to ask any questions as we move forward. So let me share with you what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about what is fierce. What is fierce conversations? Where does it come from? Secondly, I'm going to cover what's in it for you. What could you expect? How do you know if this is the right program for you, etc. And then finally, I'm going to talk about how can you get started on your pathway for fierce conversations. So this is all about being fierce. So let's first of all just take a look at what is Fierce Conversations. Well, the group program Fierce Conversations is actually based off of the book by the same name, Fierce Conversations, and it's a group program that is led by myself. I am certified by Fierce as a facilitator and trainer, as well as being a MAPS coach. The book Fierce Conversations is by the author Susan Scott, and MAPS has been, and Keller Williams has been using Fierce Conversations for quite some time. And several years ago, MAPS actually purchased the licensing rights to Fierce Conversations to use it within our curriculum. I was extremely excited when Diana Kokoska made that announcement for this reason. Fierce had been offered mainly to leadership inside of our company. And what MAPS has done is allowed this program to go to our entire agent base. And that was exciting because this program actually provides you with practical tools and techniques for handling all types of conversations. Whether it's running a team meeting that you need to do, whether it's coaching, whether it's delegating, or whether it's having those difficult confrontations on confrontation. It's a 10-week group program, and it's designed to help you enrich relationships with everyone that is important to your success. That's going to include not only your professional, it will also include your personal. It's going to improve your leadership. This is a leadership course, and I don't want that to scare you away. You may be thinking, well, I'm an agent. I got to tell you, you are a leader. Everyone is a leader. You're leading your clients every single day to make important decisions about the largest that they may ever make. So everyone is a leader. So this is designed to improve that, and it will absolutely increase your work conversations. It will help you create alignment and collaboration, whether that's with your clients, whether it is with the co-broke agent that you are working with, and whether it is if you have teams. I'm looking and seeing that the audio is echoing. Okay, I guess somebody helped you answer that question. I saw those questions popping up there and wanted to see, hopefully that is, the audio is doing a little bit better. The other thing that I want you to know around Fierce Conversations, the group program, is it will actually help you increase your business. How will it do this? Well, it will be for stronger relationships. And after all, relationships is what will get you the referrals. Now, this is a program about implementation. So I want you to know that if your intention is to listen to the material, that's going to give you knowledge. Where you're really going to gain the benefits of this program will be through the implementation. So before we move on, let me kind of define for you in the simplest of terms how we look at a fierce conversation. The simplest definition of a fierce conversation is one in which we come out from behind ourselves into the conversation and make it real. Basically, what Fierce Conversations is about, it's about authenticity. It's about being real. It's not about having the conversation that's going on in your head and then the one that comes out of your mouth is different. It's about authenticity. That is the most powerful way that anyone can show up in a conversation, is authentic. Now, sometimes people hear the word fierce and they think, oh, that means aggressive. It's going head-to-head with somebody or toe-to-toe. It means being assertive. And I want you to understand, I want you to, instead of looking at fierce in that aspect, if you will think of if somebody was fiercely loyal to you, how would you describe that level of loyalty? All of a sudden, the word fierce takes on a different meaning. We may hear things like it's passionate, it's unbridled, it's unrelenting, it's something you can count on. And as we go into fierce conversations and you learn about fierce conversations, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being authentic. We're talking about passionate conversations. You'll create some energy in fierce conversations, I promise you that. The one thing that I can tell you that I have gained over the years, I've been, my very first Fierce Conversations course was back in 2005. And I've been passionate about fierce from the moment that I took the course. It's what prompted me to get certified as a facilitator. The course has changed my world. It has changed my life. And part of that is because I've gained such a new understanding in not only how people are interpreting me and my conversations, I've gained a new understanding of how to really listen and understand what others are wanting to communicate with me. Now, see, the reality is this. What gets talked about and how it gets talked about, that's what determines what will or will not happen. I want you to think about your business for just a moment. At the foundation of the results that you have in your business right now, you will find at the core, at the foundation, conversations. Because our business is simply, it's an extended conversation that we're having with our clients and our customers and our team members and our co-bros. Unfortunately, what's happening, though, is a lot of these conversations are failing, or they've become unreal. We're not showing up authentically. Even worse than that, we don't even have the conversation. We avoid it. Sometimes that's due to lack of skill, it's fear, or it's simply procrastination. So when we look at fierce, what will it do for you? What would you gain from participating in the Fierce Conversation Group program? What will you gain from your investment of time and money? Honestly, to answer that question, I think we have to look at what is it costing us when we have these failed or missing conversations. The cost is really quite significant. We're losing commissions. We're losing commissions through poor negotiations. We may look at it and think, well, this is a deal, this is good enough. And because we don't know how to communicate effectively or really be heard, or because we avoid it altogether, we're not giving our best negotiations on behalf of our clients. We may be taking overpriced listings due to a missing conversation. See, we have to make sure that we're interrogating the sellers, we're interrogating their reality, and we're communicating the reality of the market. As a result, we may be losing referrals due to a poor connection that we're having with our clients, weak relationships. We've got lost time. And by the way, anytime we're losing time, we're losing money. And it's due to missing conversations, maybe on expectations, or we're settling for substandard performance by a team member. See, we spend a lot of time in the hiring process through our career visioning in really finding someone that is the best fit, and then through training them and having our expectations, and yet we may not then communicate effectively. I'll give you a quick story and testimonial from one participant, Matt, that was out of North Carolina. And one of the things that had happened is that he had some team members and he really had not set clear expectations. And he really didn't know when it was going to be the opportunity for him to let go of this person. And what he did is he applied the techniques and the strategies he used in fierce conversations. And not only did it save the relationship, he was able to actually totally shift and allow that member to get in alignment with his expectations and through his performance, which actually led him to actually reaching the goals that he had for the team. Sometimes we're having to redo work as a result of misunderstandings. It's important, if you have others reporting to you, that everyone understands your expectations and the goals in the same manner. If you've got different people that are understanding the expectations differently, you're all going in a different direction. That will cost you time and it will cost you money because you're having to redo things and reorganize and get people together. The other cost is a misalignment and lack of collaboration within the team or the group. In other words, everybody is going it alone. They're going in a different direction. Those are the costs of a failed or a missing conversation. And so I want to just take a quick look at what the value could be by implementing. Let's look at it from a financial standpoint. What could you gain from actually implementing fierce inside your business? So let's just take a look at one area, lost commissions and referrals. Our leader and founder, Gary Keller, he teaches us all the time that our best business comes from our repeat business and our referral business. Our database is our business. In fact, the National Association of Realtors actually shows that 21% of an agent's average business is as a result of this repeat and referral business. And so how do we get these referrals? Well, it's our success not only as an agent, but the key is it's in direct proportion to the level and the quality of our relationships. And so one of the key ideas in fierce conversations is that the conversation is the relationship. So if we lower our standards or we once again add a topic to something that we can't have a conversation around, what's happening is that relationship is getting smaller, and so are we. And therefore, when the relationship gets smaller, the opportunity for repeat business and referrals gets smaller as well. So look at the example that I'm showing you here on the slide. If you took 36 transactions for a 12-month period of time, a 21% increase would be that 8 of those transactions were as a result of repeat or referral business. Now, if you take an average commission of $4,000 on that, that's $32,000. That's the result of your current relationship, your current ability to connect. Now imagine, as a result of using the skills and implementing the strategies and models of fierce, if you added even one more referral as a result of that, $3,700. That's a rate of return. That would be the rate of return on your investment enrolling for this group program. I believe you could easily double that number, by the way, that number of transactions, and get 42% of your transactions as a result of repeat business or referral. because it's all through connection. And that's not mentioned the connection with your team members and as you grow and everybody being able to work in the same direction and moving forward. So I think you can see from just this one slide in this one area what's in it for you. Let's talk about the goal of a fierce conversation. The first is that we interrogate reality. It's not just your reality, it's also the other person's reality. The reality allows you to make the best possible decisions for you, for your team, and for your clients. What I mean by interrogating reality, it's simply taking a look at the way that you can gain the most leverage in your relationships is when you come to realize that the way that you're seeing something may not be the only way to see it. So I'm going to go back to that authenticity. Fierce is not necessarily easy, and it's not easy to be authentic. And yet it is the most powerful way that you can show up. And looking at interrogating reality, what that may mean, what's at stake, we all have this human condition where we want to look good and we want to be right. And what may be at stake is that you may not be right when we interrogate reality. It doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. It just means you're open to understanding that there's a different way of seeing something. The second is to provoke learning. How is someone else seeing the situation? Being able to understand and hear the input and opinions of others so that you can make the best possible decision. What this really is about, the basis of all of our results in our communications, the base of that is our context. So what do I mean by context? Well, fierce is actually a context tool. Our context is made up of our attitudes, our opinions, our beliefs, and when we hold on to them long enough, we don't even question them. They become our truth. So whatever our context is, that's what we gather the support and the evidence for. How we see a thing, an event, is how it is. An event is simply merely an event until we assign a value to it. A thing is just a thing until you define it through your context. So for some people, for example, a spider may be a cute little creature with a lot of legs. I can tell you it's not that for me. It actually represents fear, and it will cause them to jump out of their skin and stand on a chair until somebody comes to kill it. Or in my case, I've even sprayed hairspray on it before and put a glass on top of it and waited for somebody else to come and get it. It's not a cute little creature for me. My context tells me something different. So now how you view a spider is not going to significantly impact your life, and it's not going to impact your business. I want to use that as an example, though, of your context. How you do view your present position, your coworkers, your clients, your team leader, your organization, and even how you view yourself greatly impacts your business, both on a tangible level and intangible results. We give significance to everything, every person, every relationship, every event through our context. And then we simply gather evidence to support it. It's powerful because it influences our thinking, and consequently, it influences our behavior. See, think about it. I'm sure everybody on this webinar, you want to be right. I think we all do. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning, I know I don't, and says, you know, I'd really like to be wrong this morning. What a rush that would be. No. So none of us are in danger of losing our wanting to be right. However, sometimes wanting to be right can get in the way of us wanting to be successful or even happy. Let me give you one other example before I move on. I want you to think of a time where maybe you made being right about something or somebody else more important than getting the results you truly wanted. You can look at it. How many of you have ever attended a workshop or a training? And you could tell that there was somebody in this workshop or training that really didn't want to be there. Let's say it was you. Let's say it was me. If I held on to that context that, oh my God, this training is going to be lousy, then I'm going to look through that lens of this whole training and that it's going to be lousy. And so when I make my assessment of it, I'm going to view it as though it's a total waste of time, and I'm going to constantly be gathering the evidence to prove my context. The thing is that we do this instantaneously because we make judgments based on whatever the context is that we hold. So I am going to, based on my context in this training, I'm going to be bored, I might be agitated or frustrated. From a behavior standpoint, the way I'm going to show up is I'm not going to show up being happy. I'm not going to show up wanting to have a good time. So what are other people going to notice about me? I'm going to withdraw. I may even try to sabotage the training, or I'm going to be adversarial in my participation. And the people that I'm going to hang out with or talk to are going to be the people that share the same context. So the result that I end up having is I'm going to have a bad time, and so I get to be right about my context. You'll say things then like, I told you this was going to be a waste of my time. So we get to have this self-fulfilling prophecy and be right about having a bad time. So let's go back to conversations. See, conversations are the building blocks of relationship. So we can either create an engaged relationship by being connected, or it can be an unengaged, and most of the time it's going to be absolutely created by our context. If we create an unengaged relationship, it will result in higher turnover, it will result in lower productivity, and it will result in a lack of referrals. So the strategies and the principles and the models that we use in Fierce are actually to help you improve your engagement and connection. Here's a quick example. How do you invite people into a conversation with you? If you simply say, I want to talk to you about whatever the topic is, it automatically is putting you in a position of authority. Whereas if you simply said, I would like to talk with you, you can hear the difference between talking to you and talking with you. When I say I want to talk with you, it is one of partnership. It's an invitation to participate. So let's take a look in the time that we have left of what you could expect and the agenda of the actual program. Let's take a look at what we will cover. It's going to be a total of 10 sessions, and we're going to get started with the objectives, the definitions. We're going to spend some time on ground truth and emotional capital. It's one of my favorite topics in the course. We'll cover 3 transformational ideas. One of them I've already shared with you today. The conversation is the relationship. We're going to look at the how-to of Fierce Conversations. This is where the implementation will come in. It's one thing for me to share the 7 principles with you, but you're going to have to actually practice them. How do I have a fierce conversation? How can I show up authentically so that I'm capable of making these connections and engaging with other people? We're going to cover 2 powerful conversation models. One will be designed to build alignment, collaboration, and then the other is going to be looking at delegation. How do we delegate effectively, and how do we develop our people? We're going to look at common mistakes people make when they attempt to have difficult conversations. And then we're going to have tips and strategies to hold successful and powerful conversations. As a result, we will have set the stage for change. It will promote collaboration, and it will give you that culture that engages and encourages conversations that get results. It will open you up for the possibilities of making better decisions for yourself and for your teams. Your team members, if you have them, they will become more engaged. And leaders, you will regain time to be able to focus. Time is one of the most valuable currencies that we have. I want to pause for a moment, and I want to take any questions over. I'm going to tell you when the session begins and the cost of the sessions and all of that here in just a moment. But I want to pause to see if there was any questions over what I've covered, or maybe you've heard something else about Fierce Conversations and you have a question there. I'm going to just open it up now for questions that anybody has. You can type the questions or you can raise your hand. I'm not sure. I think I've got both of these open, so I'll be able to see any questions or raised hands that are coming up. Questions, thoughts, concerns? So one of the principles of Fierce Conversations is letting silence do the heavy lifting. So let's see, we've got here, would this course enable me to have fierce conversations with an underperforming, let me get the rest of your question, team member? Absolutely it will. Absolutely. In fact, that is probably one of the most beneficial things that, that you'll be able to gain, is how to have those conversations. Now, I can't guarantee you that the person will start performing. You'll be able to have the conversation to identify, was it maybe you didn't set the expectation clearly. Maybe there's a need for accountability. It could be that they're just interpreting what the performance needs to look like instead of really understanding that. You could also identify after the conversation that you have the wrong fit. So I'm not going to guarantee the performance. I will definitely, it will definitely allow you to have that conversation. Let's see, Carrie wants to make a comment. Okay, Carrie, I am going to see if I can find you. Chris, I may need your help on this one.
I've got her. Hold on one second. All right, Carrie,
okay,
you're on.
Perfect.
Carrie, are you there? Okay, I'm going to mute her back.
Carrie Walker? Okay.
There she goes. She's typing. Great.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Why doesn't KW make it possible in their emails about webinars for agents to click a button to allow us to find what time it is in our time zone? Okay, you know what? I don't know how to answer that question, Carrie, and I think it probably has something to do with the setup of the webinar, and that's great feedback. Thank you so much. And Chris, I'm going to allow you to kind of take that on. Carrie, I hear you. Time zones are kind of one of the things that I work very hard to understand the time zone. So thank you for that feedback, and we will definitely look at that. Thank you. Any other questions or comments that anybody has? All right, knowing that we've got just a few minutes left, what I'm going to do is give you the information now that on the next launch of Fierce. And I'm really excited about this next launch because we're actually, we've gone to a whole webinar format. So you're going to get, I got feedback from this from prior Fierce Conversation Groups program. So I'm really excited. So it begins July the 25th. It will be 11:30 a.m. Central, 12:30 to 12:30. So it's a 1 hour. So Carrie, just to for Pacific Coast, that would be 9:30. Mountain, it would be 10:30, and East Coast, it would be 12:30. So I think I've got those there. If you're in Alaska, I know it's 3 hours behind, so that would be 8. I'm not sure about Hawaii. I apologize. I'm not sure if Hawaii is 3 or 4. 10 sessions total. So here's the great news, and what I'm really excited about for today is that the cost for all 10 sessions is $297. We have a promo code available just to the individuals on this webinar today. So it's a good thing that you're on here. If you will put in, when you register, the promo code FIERCE20 through the end of the day tomorrow, we've got 30 seats that are going to be available at a 20% discount. So I'm really excited to be able to offer that to you guys and get it even at a greater discount. So again, the sessions will be recorded. I know that that is a question that comes up a lot of times. So they will be recorded. If you have a vacation or something along those lines, you'll be able to listen to the recording and see the PowerPoints and so forth during that time period. One of the things I also want to offer today is for anybody that does register today. Now this is by the end of business day, so 5 o'clock Central Time. If you register today, we're going to do a drawing. MAPS is going to do a drawing for all of those individuals that register today as a result of this webinar for free registration. So great value for you there. So take advantage, get registered. I can tell you that this course has made such a difference in my life, this material. I'm passionate about it. I'm excited to have so many people that joined the webinar today. If there's any other questions that we can answer for you at MAPS or on this particular program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. And it was my pleasure to have you all on this session today. Thank you. Be fierce. I look forward to having you in the course on July the 25th.
Great. And Debbie, I just want to add, everyone can go to mapsgroupcoaching.com and find the Fierce program, and they can register there. So that's mapsgroupcoaching.com.
Thank you, Chris. I totally forgot to tell them where to go to register, so thank you. Glad you got my back on that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Great job, Debbie.
Thank you.